Alright, let's play a quick game. If you had to think of a player in the NBA that is averaging over 28 points per game, over 7 assists, and 4.8 rebounds, who is on one of the best teams in the NBA, who do you think this player is? You're probably thinking that it's an MVP candidate, no doubt in your mind, and that it could be a player like maybe Ja Morant or Nikola Jokic. And while no doubt those are two good candidates, it's none of those guys at all. In fact, you've probably never even heard of this player in the MVP conversation. Do you need another hint? The team he's playing for does not have their star point guard, and they haven't lost that many games compared to other teams that would have done so. I think most people can tell by now who I'm talking about, but if you can't tell, I'm talking about Devin Booker, who was someone that I called an MVP candidate months ago, and some Suns fans agreed with me, but most disagreed with me. Some even said that Booker wasn't our best player and that it was CP3, or just that he wasn't ready to be an MVP. They said, yeah, he's a good player, but he's not going to be an MVP candidate. And when I went on a podcast and I said, you know, I think who I think should be an MVP candidate is Devin Booker, the guy was like, I mean, yeah, but it's too late. And while I don't blame Kevin for saying that, because I don't think he was wrong per se, I just think we need to bring this up, because can someone explain to me how the best team in basketball, and it's not even close right now, doesn't have an MVP candidate? In this video, I want to talk about some of the most disrespected MVP candidates in the NBA. I have about 3 to 4 players lined up that I'm going to be discussing in this video, so of course, before I get into the content, if you guys could leave a like on this and subscribe to the channel if you're new and notifications on. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel by the end of the year, and your subscription would be greatly appreciated. Second, I'm going to be streaming live on Twitch tomorrow, twitch.tv/Spex. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so make sure you guys do check it out. We talk basketball, we watch videos, and overall, we just have a good time. And with that being said, let's get into the video. I know I said that after the All-Star break, this is the numbers that Devin Booker was putting up with averaging 28 points per game. I would like to also mention though that it's not like his regular season stats as a total aren't crazy at all. He's averaging about 26 points per game and about 5 assists and 5 rebounds. And if Chris Paul was not on the team, I honestly do believe that Booker would be averaging over 30 points per game. However, I'd rather have a team that's gonna make the NBA Finals and most likely win the whole thing than just have Booker average like 4 more points. The reality of the Phoenix Suns right now is they want to win a championship, but I don't think the number one thing on their mind right now should be Booker wanting to win MVP. I think he's even said that before. And while I did make a video not too long ago saying that the Phoenix Suns were getting their respect, I would like to mention that Booker's not a part of that. Don't get me wrong, there are some analysts like Isaiah Thomas that have said, hey, this guy's an MVP candidate, we should talk about it. And we should. He's the best player right now on the number 1 team in basketball, and the gap is not even close. If Memphis loses their next game and Phoenix wins, I believe Phoenix will have clinched the number 1 seed, and there's still a good amount of basketball left to be played. I think the reason why Booker doesn't get the love when it comes to winning MVP is just the fact that the NBA media was wrong about him. Booker used to be a guy that a lot of people thought just averaged empty stats, and that, oh, if he was on a winning team, he wouldn't average these stats. Don't get me wrong, averaging 26 points per game is very impressive, but the motherfucker has done it for 4 straight years already. From the times that the Suns had the worst record in the league to now when they're one of the best teams in basketball. It's not a coincidence he's doing it. He's been doing this for years now, and we're just kind of forgetting about it. I personally don't think empty stats exist, and that is something that I do want to eventually talk about in a video one day, but you made the empty stats argument for years, and now the argument is so invalid, and it just proves that Booker's been a good player this entire time. And trust me, I know the NBA media is going to refuse to talk about the fact that they were wrong. Oh, and speaking of players that the NBA media was wrong about, could we talk about DeMar DeRozan? I've heard some people say that the Chicago Bulls are a fraudulent team, but I think we need to remember they're constantly being injured. And yes, I know I've been talking about the fact that the Suns are still doing well, but they've had some injuries. Listen, the Suns are on a whole nother level right now. But the fact of the matter is that the Chicago Bulls are one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and the leader of them is DeMar DeRozan. The man is averaging 27, 5 and 5 on 50% shooting from the field and 35% from 3. And stats wise, this is his best season of basketball that he's ever played. DeRozan was the one move that a lot of people said, whoa, I don't think this is a good move in free agency. In fact, it was voted as one of the worst ones. I know this is off topic, but they also said that about Jarrett Allen, which is so funny to me because look at him. But seriously, DeRozan is having these stats on high efficiency numbers and his team is winning. Yeah, I mean, the NBA media did have to put him in the MVP conversation for a while because he was a really hot topic. But it never was, oh, DeRozan's gonna win MVP. MVP. He was just that third or fourth candidate that we just threw in the thumbnail. It's not like we actually looked at DeRozan and said this guy could win MVP. And even if the Bulls weren't as good as they were, they're still a playoff team. Let's just address that. Even if some people think they're a fraudulent team, we can all admit that they're going to at least make the playoffs. And realistically, they're gonna end up being one of the high seeds in the Eastern Conference. So while the Bulls are struggling right now to win some games, let's just look at the fact that they are injured right now, and when it does come postseason, I think they're gonna show up. I'm gonna be quick about this one because I've talked about this guy so many times to win MVP, and for some reason that narrative was just kind of thrown out the window as of recently. That's Nikola Jokic, who is the guy that I said should be winning MVP this whole entire season. There's been a debate going on between Embiid and Jokic because they're the two best centers in the NBA, and while I think it's a good debate, they match up with each other, but at the same time they don't, if that does make sense. Joel Embiid is a guy that is like Shaq in some ways. He's gonna dominate the game and he's gonna try to take it over, and he's gonna be your leading scorer. And while Nikola Jokic is the Nuggets leading scorer right now because they don't have that many players, let's just address the fact that he's a playmaker and he's gonna do everything on the defensive side that he can. Even if I pulled up all the advanced analytics that I wanted to about Jokic having better defensive field goal percentages and all these other things, I'm not gonna argue that Nikola Jokic plays better defense than Joel Embiid. However, when it comes to literally every other category, I think Jokic has him beat. One of the arguments a lot of people say is that, oh, the Denver Nuggets are a low seed right now, they're not good, he's not playing winning basketball. Context, people, I need to show context. The Sixers have the second best record right now in the Eastern Conference with 44 wins and 27 losses. And while the Denver Nuggets are the 6th seed in the Western Conference, they have 42 wins and 30 losses. The gap isn't that far away if I'm going to be honest. Aside from that, I think one of the reasons why he won't win MVP is just that some people don't think his game is very attractive. Some people don't look at the impact of Nikola Jokic and they don't look about, wow, this guy's really good, but he does things in an interesting way. He's one of the top scorers in the NBA, he's one of the best playmakers, he's a player that can get rebounds and just do a lot for his team overall. We said, oh, we can't have an MVP candidate that's the 6th seed. However, one, Russell Westbrook has done that before. And number two, again, I showed context. Realistically, while they are a 6th seed, it's not like their record's bad. Meanwhile, the Thunder were first round exits. Don't get me wrong, there have been some people that have said, oh, I think Jokic should win MVP, and some analysts have even said it. However, over the past couple weeks, it seems like we kind of just forgot the fact that Nikola Jokic exists and that he's having one of the best seasons ever. The reality is that it could be the possibility that all this NBA scoring is going on, and I don't think Jokic has been a part of that when it comes to these big 50 and 60 point games. However, it was only 2 weeks ago when he had his best game of the season that I believe was his MVP performance, having 46, 12, 11, 3, and 4 in an overtime win versus the New Orleans Pelicans. These MVP candidates are very special. You have a guy on the best team in basketball that's not getting talked about. You have a guy who's scoring a lot of points that's very efficient on, again, one of the best teams in basketball, but he's not getting talked about. And then you have some dude from Serbia averaging 26, 14, and 8. All jokes aside, this is one of the best MVP classes that I think we've seen in a very long time. So while these guys not winning isn't exactly the worst thing in the world because there are so many talented candidates, I mean, there's probably 5 to 10 people that you could throw in the running. Can we at least give these guys their respect because it doesn't seem like they're getting it? If I had to pick a guy out of these 3 to win the MVP on solely just the talent that they produced this year or them being on one of the best teams or their stats, I think you guys can guess who I would pick to win MVP. But I'll wait till the season is over so I can say I told you so.